So we live in the extremes, right? We either wait for people to tell us what to do, how to do it, or we ignore completely everyone else and we do it our own way. In general, living in between in these two extremes is very difficult. And I will talk about how to stay in the middle between trusting everyone else but you and trusting no one but you. I think if you were to default to a certain extreme, would be trusting yourself first to the detriment of others. Why? Because of the control you get. If you trust yourself, then no matter how unreasonable and delusional those beliefs might be from the outside, what's important is that they make sense for you. And that whatever you make out of them can be also integrated. The outcomes of the decisions that you make on the back of certain beliefs that you have, then you can integrate that outcome because it makes sense for you, because it's part of the narrative, it's part of the story that you build for yourself. When you borrow beliefs about how you should be in the world from the outside, your locus of control is on the outside. You use the outside world as a crutch for giving you the blueprint for how to live your day-to-day existence and how you should execute your life in the end. So if you give away control to the outside world, then you have zero means to make sure that you reach the point that you want to reach. And this is, I think, the default way of living in life. Because knowing exactly what is meant for you and how you should live your life is a very difficult project. It's very confusing. Most of our lives, we have no idea what do we really even care about, especially if you don't have the chance to be nurtured and educated in a system that maximizes that kind of discoverability, right, of your own talents and interests and passions, and you have the whole environment nurturing that for you. I didn't have this opportunity. I didn't have this chance. So up to the age of 27, like 10 years ago, I thought of myself that I have zero means to create anything, that I'm just executing. I should just operate against someone else's blueprint. I'm not special by any means. I'm not unique. I'm not creative. I cannot draw, I cannot sing, I cannot do basically anything, right? And when you live to reach this, how can I say, the nice age, right? The ripe age of 27 with these beliefs, imagine the effort required to turn that around versus a child who is encouraged to think outside the box, who is encouraged to look at the world and start asking questions, to inquire about things which seem normal in most people's minds. And they should not satisfy themselves with this answer, that this is how it is. And they start asking why, right? And then they get an answer, which is not, shut up, I know better. And learning how to find that trust again and start challenging those assumptions that you crafted and reinforced for 30 years of your life. That process is incredibly painful and incredibly confusing and incredibly difficult. But I would dare to say that there is nothing that is more predictive of your own success in life than trusting yourself that you can achieve whatever you put yourself in mind to achieve. The kind of agency and trust and confidence that you get from following a path that's yours, that you decided for yourself, with or without external support. That kind of win cannot be compensated by any kind of wins that others encourage you to achieve, right? Because they think it's good. It might be good. They might give you certain appreciation from the outside. They might give you status. But do you really care about that at the end of the day? What do you really care about? Why is that not enough? And you know it's not enough. You know it because you already have a certain level of success. And from the outside, it looks like you've made it. And yet it's not enough. So what do? The natural progression, of course, is to just do more of what you already did up to this point. Why? Because you are conditioned to operate like that. Because you are conditioned to derive your sense of worthiness and appreciation and trust in your own skills and capabilities based on what you can produce and based on how people appreciate that outcome. If people that you used to take appreciation from deem that your results are not worthy enough and relevant enough and good enough for them, then it means that you are no good. You see, the appreciation of others about your results tells more for you than just the appreciation of results as such. You derive your sense of self-worthiness from the appreciation of others based on your results. Because other people are only interested in what you can produce for them. Other people are interested in getting something out of you. And if you lose yourself in this process, then you lose yourself. And the relationship that you should be developing the most in this life, the most intimate relationship that you will ever get to build in this life, is with yourself. And losing yourself in this relentless sacrifice for delivering outcomes against what people project onto you that you should be doing will inevitably lead to a point in which you don't recognize who you are anymore, in which you live life for the satisfaction of others. And there is a very specific nuance here, right? Because in a rather paradoxical way, the most fulfilling life comes from serving others. But the difference is, of course, that you are not sacrificing yourself for others and giving everyone else but you what they want, and you ultimately don't know what you want, but rather becoming someone that inspires you first, based on your own beliefs in yourself, based on your own internal goals that you develop for yourself, that make sense for you, that keep you on doing repetitively things that bring you pleasure and joy, and that they are aligned with the values that you have. And they happen to be the kind of things that serve others as well. So I genuinely believe that in life, there are no zero-sum games. It doesn't have to be like that. I don't have to sacrifice my life so you can be happy. I don't have to force you to sacrifice yourself so I can be happy. I believe that the best kind of happiness that you can have next to me is if I allow myself to be happy for you. The reason I want to be happy and do the things that I care about in this life are for you to experience the best version of myself. I am responsible for building the life I genuinely believe in so that I can give you something and don't expect something out of you. If I'm building the life that you want me to build so you can feel good about how I'm living my life, I'm only getting from you, right? I'm only asking of you appreciation, something back, right? Something in return. If I'm sacrificing things and I'm not living the life that I know I genuinely want to live for you and in your service, then I always expect something back from this implicit sacrifice that I make, right? So it's not fair. It's not a fair game. We might think that we are doing people a service when we are doing something for them, but when we lose ourselves in the game, we are implicitly forcing them to give us back our life, to give us back unconditional appreciation. We create this dependent relationship on others to make us feel whole, because this is how we live our life. We live our life to make others happy, but ourselves. We are all obsessed with control, right? We all want control. We want to control the outcomes. We want to control the circumstances. We want to make sure that we know exactly what we get from everything that we put in whatever we are doing. The problem is with that in a proper technical way, like in terms of how life presents itself, everything is more or less unpredictable. And in a technical way, we have zero control. We have no control over anything. But if we decide that the only control that we really need is to own the narrative about the outcomes of a decision that we take for ourselves, for serving others to the best of our abilities, then this is all we need to control. Because we see the outcome of our actions, we see how those outcomes serve the people around us, and then we adjust. Then we do something different, because we always do it in order to serve others. We always do everything to serve the best intentions that we have. And if you live life like that, then there is nothing to force, nothing to condemn yourself for, nothing to judge yourself for, nothing to punish yourself for. Everything is being done in alignment with your best intentions to serve others. And against those intentions, good things happen, irrespective of if it turns out to be the best thing possible or not, if it turns out to be a mistake or a bad call or not. If you own fully the decision on the back of a good intention, then you cannot lose. And this is the kind of trust that you cannot borrow from the outside. This is the kind of belief and unwavering faith that you should have in your own ability to be okay with whatever happens on the outside, knowing, of course, that you are always operating from this place of good intentions. So, in terms of being on this spectrum, right, from not caring about what people say and caring only about what people say, how can you be in the middle? How can you be open for feedback? How can you be open even for criticism occasionally and not take things personal? Well, just like that. Not taking things personal. Taking things personal makes everything about you and your problems. But if you live in service of others, you are not there in the sense of you mattering in that moment. You matter because you are helping them, right? You are in service of people. And if people say, look, this is something that doesn't work, or I'm not getting value out of it, then you can change. Then you can receive the feedback, knowing that the feedback just helps you improve your service and helps you get better on that service. And if you care about that service, you welcome the feedback, you welcome the comments and whatever people say, because you want to serve them at a higher level. So in order to serve them at a higher level, you want to get the feedback from them to know exactly how they are being, receiving the support that you get, that you give them. So I would like to leave it at that. I would like to invite you to investigate where you are on the spectrum. Are you unconsciously giving away all the control and waiting for others, for people around you, to tell you how to win at this game called life, for what you should do and why you should do it, versus being at the extreme of not caring about anyone and anything. Where are you in the middle? Or where are you on the spectrum? Because based on that, you will know exactly how you can grow to the next level, right? You know where you should maybe listen more, or when you should trust more what you already know to be true for yourself. Life is just playing the game somewhere in the middle, not the average, but poking, or like testing the extremes enough to give you the sense of a middle where you can live your life without having to be completely ignorant to the outside world or completely shaped by the outside world. How to stay flexible enough and available enough for getting the feedback from people, especially when it comes down to you improving your service towards them, versus when you should trust yourself more than what others think that you should be doing. I invite you to explore this and leave me a comment or reach out if you would like to discuss more on this theme. Happy exploration.